Hello and welcome to another edition of our Community Leaders and Business Owners interviews from Starfox Financial Services. I'm Jose Palafox, the founding member of Starfox Financial Services. I'm here with a community leader and business owner, Dragos Tapu. Introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'm Dragos Tapu, and I am the founder of Glade Foundation and the founder of Glade Gallery.
Wonderful. I'm very excited about this interview. Dragos, I know that I wanted to learn a little bit more about you. We had a chance to talk earlier, but please, for our audience, tell us how you came to the Woodlands and why you're involved with the Glade Gallery.
Well, I moved to Houston in 1990. My parents came here, and I found my way slowly moving out in the suburbs, kids growing up, and here I ended up in the Woodlands 10 years ago.
That's awesome. Now, earlier you told me you were in architecture, but somehow you got away from that.
I did. My background is in art. My father being an artist, I was supposed to follow his footsteps. However, we kind of settled on not being a full-fledged artist, but becoming an architect. Semi-technical, semi-art, if you will. So somehow my career changed to marketing, corporate marketing in the technology sector. So for 20 years after college, I was a marketeer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big difference from architecture to marketing, but at least the marketing allowed you to get a little creative.
Yes, we had creative freedom. We're kind of at the beginning of the dot-com revolution, if you will, middle 90s, and we had a lot of fun doing new programs, out-of-the-box thinking, and marketing communication was being really fun at the time with new ideas. And so having art background and architecture background, I think it helped a lot, and that's what kept me interested for 20 years to be there.
Yes. But really your first love has been on the art side, and that's how you ended up back now to what we have here. We're in the Glade Gallery. Tell us a little about how this got started.
Long story short, I brushed shoulders years and years ago with some old friends, family friends in Europe, and it was a circumstance where the entire collection was inherited in the family, in the respective family, and they wanted to sell it. So that's how I kind of cut my teeth in art brokerage for the first time. It was a learning curve for sure, but I think that was my beginning point.
Sure, and then you decided to take some of that and display it here in the Woodlands.
Well, not that part, but I took best practices because the corporate world taught me that you need to kind of dot your I's and cross your T's. So when I opened this gallery, I wanted to make sure that it's a self-sustaining SMB, right? I didn't want to see what happened with my father's experience with other galleries where they would open and then the next day they would be gone because they didn't have a solid business plan. So it took me about 2 years to develop the plan, but the way it all formulated with this gallery is me reconnecting with my classmates from Europe, whom are now well-known artists in Europe.
That's awesome. So you have some connections there in Europe with some artists that you can bring on over.
That helps a lot.
So now, before I go any further, I want to stop you there. That's very important for our community. Is you said something very, very important. Is you took your time and created a business plan before you actually kicked off the actual gallery itself.
Yeah.
For our community, it's very important to understand that you have to have a plan beforehand and know where you want to go. Too many times people just jump to the gun and start a business because they think it's a good opportunity or they're good at it without actually really putting a plan in place. And if you do that, your failure rate's much higher than if you take the time, plan things out. It doesn't mean that everything's going to go perfect, but at least you have an idea where you want to go.
Yeah, and in all reality, this is not just a party of one. I started alone, but now I have two other partners, and although I am the only person in the partnership that has art background, the other ones have a strong business acumen. And I think that's what makes this enterprise work very, very well, because we are very aware of how things are managed. Yet, this is a commodity at the end of the day. So if we're making a
It's almost a luxury, right?
Yeah. So if you make a cross reference to financial sector, there are commodities everywhere, and I've been joking with my finance friends that my commodity never depreciates, especially in the secondary market.
Sure.
So,
well, one of the things you said also is that your partners are very business savvy.
Yeah.
So one of the things I also teach to our business owners is, like in our case at Starfox Financial, is when I'm looking to hire somebody or bring somebody on as a partner, or bring somebody on that can add to the team, I invariably look for somebody who's got way more knowledge than me, because I want people that are much better at what they do around me, especially in areas where I might be a little weak. As a small business owner, you have to understand that just because you started the business and just because you're the head guy, you don't want to be the guy that has the final. You want to be the guy that has the final say, but not necessarily the smartest guy in the room. That makes sense. You want people that are better at what they're doing to help your business grow. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So, the corniest saying that you ever heard, there's no I in team, right?
That's right.
Well, that's very true, because when you have people from, especially in business, and you try to build a plan and you want to bring something to the community that everybody gets to benefit, especially in the nonprofit world, it's very important to make sure that, they collaborate, and you don't take the dictatorship and say, I'm doing it because I said so.
I think that leadership's gotten past a while. Now, you did mention something that's really important. Why we're here today is the Glade Gallery is not your only project.
No.
We know there's another much more important project to the community, and we want to hear some more about that.
Yeah, I started with Glade Gallery 2 years ago, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, reconnecting with my friends and well-known artists. But while having the gallery in the Woodlands and bringing in all these artists from mainly Western Europe, it became apparent to me that there's a much greater need in the community. And we thought, how can we address that? And just what it developed to be now an arts foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, where we will have a permanent collection for people who come see, like any other museum, visiting exhibits from other organizations or private collections, and then of course continuing with what the gallery started, bringing in internationally known artists, but we'll emphasize on local artists, professional artists, as opposed to here. There are no artist associations or formally known associations for artists, professionals, like the finance sector, or technology sector, or you name it. And art being one of the last vertical that is unregulated on the marketplace and globally, it's important for an artist to have assurance that their rights are protected, if you will, and the brokers that they deal with are taking care of them, because the job of an artist is to create art that you and I use and consume as soul food, right? So not necessarily an artist is business savvy.
Right.
It's not in their core competency. So go back to why we want to promote the local artist, having the I guess the privilege to have artists from other places outside the United States, or having access to them, and creating a small community of artists here, local, that they live in our community and they strive. We can create a collaboration.
Right. Now, are you going to be involved with the art festival at all? I know that's part of that.
That's a different organization. We will partner with them. The difference between the Glade Arts Foundation and the Woodlands Arts Council. The Woodlands Arts Council is an outreach program.
Got it.
They go to tier 1 schools, to the assisted living places, and they provide art programs to other locations. We are, as I've been jokingly saying, I don't know if it's correct, but it's an in-reach organization. So you come to us because we have the facility, but we will partner with them because there's no need to duplicate programs. I mean, the community is large enough yet small too,
Well, now that's something very important. In the Woodlands, I'm transplant here from California a couple of years ago, and one of the things I do notice that in the Woodlands, everybody's really willing to work with each other. There's never, although we're all very competitive, especially in business or any organization that we're out there, people collaborate. They want to be part of it. They want to bring you in and teamwork with you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was just mentioned is we did have a tour of the new facility just before this interview, and he's actually downplaying it. When you see the facility and when you come and visit it, you're going to be blown away. He's doing a top-notch job on everything. I'm super excited about the 3D. There's going to be a 3D room.
So because of my technology background,
Yes.
You have to bring it in. I mean, it's kind of my DNA now, or part of my DNA. So we are setting up a dedicated room for virtual reality, but geared towards art. So you can take a virtual tour of another museum in another place where you may have never have a chance to go see. Or, for example, we will bring in kids from the Conroe ISD and give them tours, geography tours, visiting the Great Wall of China, or go see the Pacific Reef somewhere, or anything that is available in this virtual reality world, we will provide from the education standpoint.
So so that's wonderful. One thing that as these kids are growing up in our area, some kids can't afford to go and travel and see other parts of the world. So by having this room, we're going to be able to show them not only museums, but also, like you mentioned, the Great Wall of China, or even I believe monuments in the United States, things like that. One thing also that one of the key artists that you're going to be bringing in also did something with the Sam Houston statue.
Yeah. So in developing the plan for the Glade Arts Foundation, at the time I was working with David Addix, who is a Texas-born and raised artist. He's 91 years old now. He's known in Texas as a monumentalist. He built the Sam Houston statue in Huntsville, several others around Houston, downtown area. But he's, at heart, he's a French painter.
Okay.
He studied in France in the 50s and 60s, and he lived there for a decade or more, I think. And while we're having the exhibit here a year ago, he said, quote, "I can't believe the Woodlands doesn't have a museum." And we're here having a glass of wine. It was the time of the Arts Festival last year. And I said, "Well, David, guess what? We are going to have one because we're in the middle of renovation of this new building." So that's how it all started.
Wow.
And he is giving us a significant amount of artwork that will be a permanent exhibit for the community. Enough to rotate it and keep it fresh for quite some time. So that's very generous of him. And would be the only comprehensive retrospective exhibit of David Addix's work.
And that's amazing because you said it's not just one or two pieces, it's many pieces, so you can change them out.
Yeah, we'll change them out. Also, with time, as the organization grows, we will partner with other nonprofit foundations, art foundations, and we'll go into rotational period. So our exhibit goes somewhere, and we'll bring in another one.
Now, the new building also is not going to be just art alone. That's obviously the main focus, but you're also going to be able to bring in the community for events. Am I right?
Yeah. So, art is many things, and that's what I think, going back to the collaboration, like you said earlier, the community is so eager to bring in more arts. I think we are at the brink of a cultural revolution in the Woodlands, and partnering with other organizations like the Woodlands Arts Festival, for example, where they have their outreach program in certain areas. The Woodlands Symphony, which is another nonprofit organization here, we're very well known. We will be able to bring under the one roof the collaboration of arts, performing arts, visual arts, dance maybe later. So it's all for us. So
it's very exciting. I mean, I'm not a person that's out there looking at art every day or know much a ton about art, but I do know that recently you partnered with the Inspire Film Festival. Am I right? You guys did some things here, some events.
Yeah, well, I hosted the panel discussions for the filmmakers here. That was my involvement, which was very cool. It was the second time around, and the venue here at the gallery is conducive for that because it's large enough space yet intimate.
Right. Now, so when this all comes about, maybe next year, if you're going to be part of it, it'll be at the new building.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's a year away. I think they just finished that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is, as you mentioned, that community involvement. One of the things that's very important is we all talk about culture, we all talk about art, but you're actually doing something about it. You're actually bringing in the kids so that they can get involved, but allowing also the business community like myself to use the building. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, as a businessman, I had to find ways to sustain my nonprofit work. So, allowing companies like you, such as yours or others, to come in and have their quarterly business review, for example, and combine that with some type of an engagement with arts, and that helps two ways, right? I mean, obviously we get a revenue stream so we can have better art classes for the community, but also we're providing you a service in terms of arts as it relates to business leadership.
Sure. And I'm part of other organizations, nonprofit organizations as well, and obviously a business owner. So we're always looking for new venues.
Yeah.
We're always looking for something different because it gets kind of old to go to the same things over and over again. Sometimes you need a little bit different. So I'm excited to see the new building when it's done,
Yeah.
and to be able to use it as a business owner, and also to mention it to the other nonprofits that can use it also.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a collaboration piece, right? I mean, we can use this place in many different ways. Obviously, our main purpose is arts, visual arts, and fine arts. And I like to establish this organization as the premier fine arts organization here in our community. I'm fortunate enough to have partnerships with the Woodlands Township, who's very generous with us. Howard Hughes, the Woodlands Development Company. So that helped us to get where we are today. But it takes a village.
It does.
Yeah.
And one of the things you mentioned earlier, and some things I was reading, is that George Mitchell was very much and wanted the culture also to be part of this.
Yeah, and when we found the building that was available, it just couldn't be any better than that, because in a sense you feel like you're continuing the Mitchell's legacy with arts. Yet I'm a newcomer in the Woodlands. I've only been here for 10 years, so people are.
Did you hear that? He's a newcomer. He's been here 10 years.
Well,
that is in the Woodlands. That is.
Yeah. So Lisa, my soon-to-be wife, she's a Woodlandite.
Yeah.
She grew up here.
Sure.
So that's kind of where the reference comes from.
One of the things that we can talk about the Woodlands in that sense is so wonderful. I've only been here 2 years, so I'm definitely new to the Woodlands. But not once have I felt out of place. Not once have I felt uncomfortable. Not once have I felt like, get out. It's always been, you're welcome, you're a hard worker, you're a business owner. How can we help you? How can we help you expand your business? How can we help you meet new friends, make new people? I can't even say enough about the Woodlands. And this thing that you're doing with the cultural art, I mean, I think it's going to be another addition to the Woodlands. It just makes it that much better of a community. And I'm really excited about seeing the new building that comes up with.
Thank you. I appreciate your candid words, and I think it will be a wonderful place. I mean, just by walking in there and having artwork that speaks to everyone. We do have a surprise up our sleeves, but we're going to let you see it and you'll walking for the opening.
Yeah, well, wonderful. You heard that. He's got a surprise up his sleeve for the grand opening. And I would just tell you that if you get a chance, when it does come about and open, you've got to take advantage of this, because it is a wonderful thing. I just toured it before it's finished, and let me tell you, if it's half as good as he says, it's going to be a wonderful place for not only for the artists, but also for the community to come in and get involved. And I'm just excited. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're almost there. However, the website is up and running, gladeartsfoundation.org. We have listed already a series of art classes through the summer where people can come and sign up and take classes or lecture series, all kinds.
Well, I look forward to it. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Please get out there and see it. And you can also pick up information. Once we post this, it'll be on our website at starfoxfinancial.com. It'll also be on all the social media sites. Another wonderful interview and another wonderful business owner here in the local community. I'm excited, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Thank you.